Andrew in New Jersey, you are on the line with Luxander and Jimmy. And I got to tell you, full disclosure, I don't want to lie. I don't want you to go away feeling like I find you to be one of the most bad faith, terrible interlocutors that consistently call both channels. And I can guarantee you, you're going to look dumb by the end of this call. Knowing that, would you still like to proceed?
Yeah, I want to proceed. According to your chat, I look dumb at the end of every call, so it's no surprise to me.
I think if we asked family members of you to watch the call, they'd tell us that, but I don't know. Andrew, I'm not saying that you're dumb because that you're bad because you're MAGA. I'm saying you're bad at even being MAGA. Like on the standard of what a MAGA would want, you're much less Charlie Kirk. You're more like what comes out of Ann Coulter's ass, not Ann Coulter herself, though.
Yeah, well, yeah, most of my family will tell you. I mean, my family is filled with rotten leftists, so I'm not surprised neither.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. Do you feel like it's hard to convince your family that you're not a fascist?
I don't know. I mean,
do you think your family thinks you're a fascist?
Probably.
Yeah. Those people who've known you so long.
Yeah.
That probably bugs you. All right. Well, Andrew,
Jimmy,
look, we've got you
Jimmy
on.
is not that excited, but listen, Andrew, I have to listen to you do calls with other hosts while I'm producing. So I'm excited to get to talk to you today.
I'm glad I don't make the clips anymore. All right, Andrew, I watched you on Chewed Gum the other night. That was a rough time, Andrew. So let's see. Andrew, Andrew's claim is, I don't want to be forced to use pronouns. Is that the claim before you support it? Just a simple yes or no.
Yes.
Great. Andrew, how old are you real quick?
19.
Andrew is 19. Has anybody on the channel asked you that before? Is this the first time you've been asked how old you are?
We know how old he is.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're a man. Your pronouns are he, him, I assume, right? You don't want me to call you she, her. You'd prefer he, him?
Yeah, he, him, yeah.
Yeah, I got you. What are some of your hobbies? What's your favorite thing to do with your free time? I'm trying to humanize you here, Andrew, to make myself less of a dick on this call. I promise you this is for your benefit. What are some of your hobbies?
You can do whatever you want, man.
Thank you. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do, though. But what are some of your hobbies, Andrew?
I told you, Warzone.
Warzone? Call of Duty?
Yep.
Oh, cool. What about outside? What's an outdoor activity you like? It's okay if you don't have any.
That's my job.
Basketball. Nice. How tall are you? Do you mind if I ask? You don't have to answer that, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, 6 feet.
6 feet? I'm 6'2". I can't dunk, though. Can you dunk?
Yeah, I can dunk, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. 6 feet, that's a high lift. What does that take? Like, is that 2 feet? Is that 24 inches to dunk? What do you need to get up there?
I don't know. I haven't really measured it. I just jump. I don't really think about how many inches it is.
Sure. So let me ask you a question. If later today you were talking to somebody about this call and you were like, yeah, I talked to Jimmy, what would you say? He was a dick. Because that's probably like, that sentence is probably going to be accurate enough. So if of the sentences, would you say he was a dick, she was a dick, they were a dick? Which one of those sentences would you go with?
Can you repeat that?
Which sentence, if you were recalling this call later about me, Jimmy, would you say he was a dick, she was a dick, they were a dick? Which one would you do?
I wouldn't say none of it. I'm just having a conversation.
All right, sure. I had a conversation with him, I had a conversation with her, or I had a conversation with them. Which one would you say?
Well, with you specifically, I would say I had a conversation with him.
Cool. What about Luxander? Would you say I had a conversation with him? I had a conversation with her. I had a conversation with them. I had a conversation with it. I had a conversation with them. What would you say?
I'll say I had a conversation with Luxander.
You wouldn't use a pronoun at all?
No.
So you would opt By the way, that's at least a smaller amount of respect than other MAGA people will do. You won't mispronoun them, but you would just say Luxander. You won't decide what pronoun.
Yeah.
All right. Andrew, let's say you're... Go ahead. What's that?
Yeah, I will use, for trans individuals, I'll just use their name.
Okay, so you're just going to sound very unnatural, be content to sound very unnatural, and only use their name, which is a level of like autism sounding that I haven't even reached yet. But that's fine, Andrew. Maybe you're there. I haven't gotten to that level of literalism. Andrew, who is trying to force you to do something other than that? So Luxander would prefer that you say it or them, right? Lux, do you have any others?
That's pretty much it.
So that's what Lux would prefer. Who's trying to force you to say one of those instead of using Lux's name over and over again?
Well, let's say if I'm like a business owner, should I be
Sure.
forced to use? Should I be forced to use preferred pronouns? Like if I don't want
technically, no, not technically. You shouldn't technically be forced to use preferred pronouns. However, you should be prohibited from explicitly using the wrong pronouns. Because actually, in the case that you just said, Andrew, any law that you're trying to point to would not prohibit an employer from doing what you just said, only calling Luxander Luxander. And the laws that you are pointing to also have nothing to do with force or criminalization. They have to do with harassment. Andrew, if let's say that if I'm your employer and you come and you're at my job every day, can I call you Muscles as a nickname and you're cool with that?
you said if you're at my job?
I'm your employer.
If I'm at your job?
You come in every day and I was like, hey there,
Okay.
Muscles. I call you Muscles. You cool with that?
Yeah, I don't care.
Cool. Now you come in every day and I, your boss, am calling you Floppy Titty McGee. Are you cool with that? In front of everybody. People at the store, other employees.
Yeah, I just say that's not my name.
But I keep doing it anyway. And now other people are calling you Floppy Titty McGee. And now you become the laughingstock at work. Should you have any legal recourse right now if I will not stop, even after you express to me, I don't want you to call me Floppy Titty McGee. It hurts my feelings or it makes me feel humiliated. It emasculates me, however you want to express it. Should you have any recourse or should your only recourse be to leave that job?
Oh, if it was really bothering me like that, I would just leave the job. I mean, I don't.
But should you have more options? So let's say you're a single dad in an area where there are no other jobs and you really need this job. You can't afford to miss a paycheck and somebody is outwardly harassing you is what we're talking about. Floppy Titty McGee, they're harassing you. They're saying it over and over and again. You're the laughingstock of everybody else. You are going to work, dreading going to work. Your mental health care is taking a huge hit. Should you have, or should somebody in that situation have the ability to go somewhere and say, this is my place of employment and I am being harassed because they are exclusively calling me things that make me feel bad. And they are making me a laughingstock of other people by doing so. Would that qualify as harassment in your world or not?
Yeah, I guess that'll be harassment, yeah.
Great. Those are the only types of pronoun laws that exist. If you are going out of your way to continually attack a person and degrade them by not using their pronouns, they may be able to pursue civil litigation. You cannot go to prison for it. You cannot go to jail, but you can prove in some places, and only some, that they are harassing you. And when you do so, you will have to prove it is intentional and malicious, and that they have been asked not to do all of the things. Usually you're going to have to document it. Usually you'll have to document it.
How many lawyers? Yeah, I understand, but I'm saying, what is the amount that you can misgender?
By accident, like pretty much unlimited. And that's actually why a lot of people get away with it. If you can't prove that it's malicious and there aren't a lot of people around to say, and especially because of the courts here, they aren't as good as they should be. Because obviously there wouldn't be a version of this if somebody was just casually throwing the F slur out or whatever. They're going to say, no, you don't get away with it. But because there's enough coverage, most people don't even succeed with civil litigation. However, as soon as you can prove that it is being permitted on purpose by being able to, whether it's recording conversations or having multiple other employees have your back and say, nope, when that person leaves, the boss comes in or the other coworker comes in and they're saying this shit, the boss heard them say that shit, you're going to need basically a lot of witnesses and documentation if possible. The bar is extremely high to succeed there, especially if you are trans. But Andrew, you're now trying to get into like whether or not it's being applied fairly. So before we hit fairly, can you now admit, Andrew, that if you can prove it's happening maliciously, that they should be able to have a civil lawsuit for harassment if that is the situation a person is in?
Well, I don't know if I agree with that because, like if I'm an employer, I'm going to have to spend probably hundreds or thousands of dollars trying to get my name cleared. You know, just because.
If you're doing it malicious, wait, Andrew. We just established that we have proven that the person did it maliciously. So you're saying it might cost money for them to clear their name? I'm not talking about whether or not in an instance where let's pretend trans people hate cis people so much and occasionally they go out and lie about it and those are the lawsuits. Okay, throw all those lawsuits out. Now we just have the lawsuits where the trans person has proven that they are being maliciously harassed and purposefully misgendered, both on a level of an employee or an employer, but at the permission of the employer. Should they have that recourse? You said no, because it'll cost them so much money to clear their name. But you're saying no, because it'll cost them to clear the name for the thing you've agreed they're guilty of. That's like being like for sexual harassment. If they're grabbing a girl's ass, should the girl be able to sue for sexual assault and harassment? Well, no, because they might have to spend so much money to clear their name and make people like them again, even though I agree they did commit the harassment. So we're agreeing that they did the action. Go ahead.
Sexual harassment is physical, I think, though. That's the difference between me actually grabbing
sexual harassment can be. Listen, Andrew, if you just say to a woman in your workplace, like, I'd love to smack your ass, you just say it. You don't touch her. You just say it. That is sexual harassment.
Andrew, do you have a girlfriend?
No.
Have you? Well, would you like to? Are you straight, man? I don't know if you're straight or gay.
No. I don't care about having a girlfriend. Back to this.
Hang on. No. There's a reason I'm going here. Would you have a girlfriend or are you opposed to having a girlfriend?
I don't care about having a girlfriend.
That's not the question. I'm trying to personalize this for you and humanize you. Is it realistic to, if I say, Andrew, let's pretend you have a girlfriend at the beginning of a hypothetical, are you good with that or do you not like having girlfriends? If you're gay, I don't want to say girlfriend. If you'd rather I say boyfriend. Or if you're saying you're asexual, you don't want either, then we'll go with a family member instead.
Well, women are pretty terrible. So at this point, I don't think I want a girlfriend.
True. That's fair enough. Okay. We at least agree on that. Women are awful. The only thing worse than women, men. All right. Andrew. I have zero notes for what I just said. Usually I say I'm joking. No, that's 100% true. Everything I just said, I stand by. Women are awful. Only thing worse are men. Okay. Andrew, you have a family member. They're conservative like you. You love them. They're a woman. We're going to call her Tasha. All right, Andrew? Is Tasha okay?
Yeah, sure.
Tasha goes to work and every day at work, another employee says, I want to fuck your titties. I like that you're floppy titty McGee. And the boss hears it, does nothing about it. In fact, there's even proof the boss laughs about it when Tasha's not around. This other employee coming in constantly is talking about wanting to titty fuck her. She's getting distressed about it because she can't find another job. She's trying to wear more and more modest clothing. The more modest the clothing, the more he makes fun of her and seems to target more. She's asked HR and corporate to step in. They're not doing anything. They haven't corrected. Maybe HR had a meeting and said like, hey, you got to stop doing this. But this guy's sales are so high that he just confidently keeps doing it. Should your sister Tasha be able to take any kind of legal recourse because she is being harassed and her employer is aware of it and enabling it? Yes or no?
Well, that's a fake hypothetical. That's
no. It happens. No, it isn't, Andrew. Andrew, it's not a fake hypothetical because it happens all of the time. You do or do not believe she should have access. If it happened, should she be able to?
I don't think that happens. I think it's a super
Great.
ultra
Let's say it does happen.
It sounds cartoonishly fake.
Andrew, the reason why you can't get a girlfriend is because every woman knows this does happen and you deny that it happens. But if it did happen, Andrew, if it happened, would you agree that it doesn't require her to be touched for her to have a harassment case? That speech alone would work there.
Whatever, fine, whatever.
Great, Andrew. So you agree that it is harassment is speech-based. Usually if you have a physical element, that's when it is raised to assault. Okay, so now we're talking about speech. We're talking about a hostile work environment. And we're talking about a person going out of their way, maliciously making sure, because there are no cases of the person who accidentally misgendered going to jail because it's not criminal in the first place. It is only harassment charges. Overwhelmingly, because the bar is so high, trans people not dedicate themselves. What would the right word be? Basically resort to poverty and don't pursue criminal litigation or civil litigation because they can't afford an attorney because it's hard to make money and get ahead in life as a trans person in America. And they do tend to just leave those jobs because they effectively have no recourse, even though in some places they're supposed to be. So you're sitting here and going, I don't want anybody to be forced to. Luxander, do you want to force Andrew to use your pronouns?
Not really.
I don't want to force you to use my pronouns. So you have a cisgender person and a transgender person here saying, we're not going to force you to use our pronouns. And even if we are going to humiliate you when you don't, even if we're going to be an asshole right back to you when you don't, we might try to socially compel you. Neither of us want you to go to jail if you insist on not using our pronouns.
So you're going to humiliate me? Okay, so you're going to humiliate somebody if they don't want to call what they clearly see as a man or woman?
Correct. If a person identifies as, just like if I say, Andrew, what if you have floppy titties? Can I then call you Floppy Titty McGee, even if you don't want to be called it?
Yeah, sure.
I can.
Fat and overweight, then yeah, call me Floppy.
And you're not going, and you don't believe it will be appropriate to socially humiliate a person who would be such an asshole to call an overweight person Floppy Titty McGee.
Yeah, if I'm overweight, then go for it.
And so that overweight person should not be able to shit on you back. Andrew, let's say you're ugly. If you call out my floppy titties, I can't make fun of you for being ugly. That's not allowed. That's not appropriate to socially humiliate someone who's a dick.
Well, if it's the truth, then I'm ugly. I mean, what do you want me to do about it?
And what do you want? You just said you don't, that it's about being forced. And then you took issue with, yes, I'm going to socially humiliate you if you are a dick to a person and reject their identity and do so maliciously.
That's not social humiliation if I'm really ugly and you call me ugly.
Yes, it is.
I could be like, that's the truth.
It absolutely is. Yeah. Okay. Andrew, who doesn't leave his apartment, won't get a girlfriend, his 19-year-old son, just Call of Duty Warzone. I'm sure that you have the thickest skin in the world. It's very believable.
Like, are you saying like something can't be insulting if it's true? Like, do you think that it's not hurtful to gay kids to be called the F slur? Like,
but I am an F slur.
Like, in fact, that is hurtful, actually. Like, that makes it more hurtful, in my opinion. If somebody says something that's true, like if somebody says something about like my receding hairline, I get a little bit upset sometimes. Like,
yeah, clearly I have body dysmorphia.
Because I'm self-conscious about things. If you point out something that I'm self-conscious about, I'm going to feel bad because you have correctly pointed out something that I am lacking confidence in. So if you're overweight people, and I think you're maybe skinny, you're like 19, so you're skinny, I think, probably still. people do get upset
Yeah.
when they're fat, and you point out that they're fat and you say, LOL, fat titties. Like, that's an insult. And for gender reasons too, because men can have dysphoria if they have big titties from being fat. I am speaking out of turn on this because Jimmy can probably speak more to that, having gone through weight fluctuations in the past. Like, my titties are not as affected by that. But yeah, like, I don't like. Have you never been insulted?
I need a bra almost.
Did you never have bullies in high school who would call out things that were true and you found that hurtful? Like,
well, not really. I mean, if they were telling the truth, and it's the truth.
Andrew, you're so full of shit. Andrew, if it's not a big deal, why not then just, if the speech is not a big deal, why does it hurt you so much to call a person by that which they wish to identify? Why is that so rough for you? It doesn't matter anyway, so why not call them? Call a trans woman a woman. Why not?
Because I feel like I'm lying, and I don't want to do that.
So it's feeling based.
I think if I was in your workplace, so Andrew, if you were my boss in this hypothetical situation where you're talking about like, well, if I'm an employer, am I being compelled to blah, blah, blah? First of all, I don't want to work for you. If you're calling me by only my name, I know that you're hateful. And guess what? You are losing out on my extraordinary talent and valuable contribution I would be making to your team. So like, I guess that's like, I've been thinking on that for a little while. So that was a thought that I didn't actually mean to spew right now. And it derailed my original point. Like, I don't know why you think I would want to work for you in the first place. Like, you are losing yourself valuable, talented individuals by not acquiescing to this. And frankly, if I were to tell you, if I had a performance review and I was working for you and you only ever called me Luxander, if you asked me during my performance review, like, do I like working here? I would be like, yeah, I love working here. It's great.
Yeah.
That's called lying to be polite and to keep your job. Like, sometimes lying is literally necessary for you to survive. Sometimes lying is necessary to have a cohesive work environment. We are a social species. Sometimes you have to omit the truth in order to have a salubrious and pleasant relationship with the people in your lives. So, like, I don't know why you think you're exempt from that for some reason, frankly.
I'm mad at them too for saying salubrious. I don't know what it means either.
If I wanted you to call me my lord, would you call me that?
I'm sorry, can you repeat?
If I wanted you to call me my lord, would you call me that?
No, because it's an honorific that establishes power imbalances. Right. I also, by the way, I won't call the king my lord or your majesty. I won't call the president any. Honorifics are a completely different thing, because you're wanting my lord because you want an acknowledgement and an honorific of a position of power, and I reject those power structures in the first place. You went with a weird example for something that no one should acknowledge, and it's fucked up we do.
That's how I feel.
And yet your brain doesn't have the capacity to have the experience of a my lord as an actual, like, this is a characteristic of being a human versus a peasant. Humanity, there is no significant difference where it's just based on, are you born a lord or not born a lord? Did your parents have money, right? It's not an actual thing we could measure in any way besides asking how much money do your parents have and what were their positions in power. It's not automatically.
You don't have to think you don't have to think that I'm in power of anything. I just want to be called my lord.
Andrew, to tell you the truth,
I want to be called.
If you had that kind of level of delusion and I worked in a mental health firm, mental health facility where you were, and that was what it took to keep you balanced, for sure I'd call you my lord. Agreed. For sure. If it would improve your mental health outcomes in that scenario, I definitely would. But if you're just trying to do the my lord thing as an example that you clearly don't feel, and by the way, you're complaining about lying and being forced to lie, but a moment ago you didn't mind lying when you pretended it was your choice you don't have a girlfriend. So you're clearly fine with lying when you want to lie.
I didn't say it was my choice.
Yeah, that was what you implied. That you don't have a girlfriend because girls are awful, and so you're not pursuing a girlfriend. Let's be real, bud.
Okay, Jimmy, what is a woman?
I know what an incel sounds like. Sorry, what?
What is a woman?
Who cares?
What is a woman?
Are you asking because you can't get one to talk to you?
Yeah, sure. What is it?
Well, then there's the definition: a person who won't talk to you.
Okay, what is a woman biologically then?
I don't play your, there's no such thing as biologically. Okay, a biological woman would be a non-artificial woman. Trans women are not robots. They are women. You're saying, what is a woman biologically, as though it's a biological question?
So if a man is, so would you date a trans woman?
I have dated trans women.
So you're
Andrew,
a homosexual?
I'm a bisexual. I've dated trans women, straight women, or trans women, cis women.
Yeah, I don't even know why.
Trans men,
you all
cis men.
Okay.
Excuse me, what was that?
I said, I
What'd you say
don't
there,
even know
Andrew?
why. I should have known you was like a No, I'm saying I should have known you was a bisexual dude. I don't even know
Yeah,
why
I'm
I
a
asked that
person who
question.
can embrace who I actually am. I don't live with the type of sexual shame and absolute self-disgust that you live with.
I mean, two men.
But also look at my shirt.
sleeping with
Did you
each
think
other.
I was hiding it? I have a rainbow duck that says pride on it. What do you think I was hiding? You're right. You should have known, Andrew. You're bad.
Yeah.
How many minutes are we at this point?
Yeah.
Guys, please pay me to have taken this painful call. As soon as we'll do $50 of super chats. Andrew's turn will be over. Andrew, you're sitting here going, you think the what is a woman thing, the only reason you do that argument is because our answer is nuanced. But you know that your side will laugh if any nuance is presented. If we don't just straight up say an XX chromosome, blah, 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 blah. As you count on that your whole side doesn't understand the terminology and thinks that it's a common sense answer. And so because your side will laugh when the answer isn't just the straight up, which by the way, most people on our side are fine going like, yeah, we'll start with adult human female, just the way you will start with a simple explanation of what a chair is. But then you're going to have to expand into the other definitions as you find even people in your category that you're calling women, where adult doesn't quite fit it just right. Human doesn't necessarily fit it just right. And female, especially what you're defining as a female, doesn't fit it just right.
Yeah, well, I mean, the transgender people tell us that a woman is anyone who identifies as a woman. But then when I get into some of the identifiers, it's like vague, because even with some of the identifiers, you can have those identifiers and still identify as a man.
Correct. So that means you don't identify as a woman. You just made their point for them. And what you're talking about is trying to create a definition that will universally work, which is impossible for basically all words. A universal definition that we're all going to lock in and agree on, and there's no more work to do on this ever again forever, versus the actual nuanced position of as in everyday life, a woman to me will be whoever asks me to respect them as a woman, or whoever you don't have to go out of your way to ask me individually, but anyone who tells me they're a woman, just in the same way, Andrew, that you said your name is Andrew and you could be lying. I told you my name is Jimmy, and I am lying, but I do identify as Jimmy.
Yeah, but those
so it's not quite a lie.
Those are empty labels.
No, they aren't. Being Jimmy is extremely important to me.
Empty label.
Woman is too. To tell you the truth, I don't find gender all that.
No.
How big you think this gender question is? It's only as big as it is because bigotry exists to oppose it and to try and keep people out of it. If we lived in an actual, very progressive society, our gender, our pronouns and everything, people would give two fucks about, because and we've seen this in societies. You just don't really give a fuck. It's not important to you. There aren't laws on the basis of a man versus a woman. It wouldn't matter as much. It matters so much because there's bigotry against it, just like race is literally so stupid and arbitrary. It's so dumb to segregate on the basis of race, and yet we can't seem to stop doing it because these differences aren't that significant. And anybody who you feel like is just like, this is the perfect ideal of a woman because of these characteristics of them, you will find a man who identifies as a man with those characteristics. The spectrum is so broad.
Yes.
that it makes all the terms meaningless. So you should just honor a person with whatever they want to identify as. And unless you can establish that an abuse is happening as a result of a power imbalance established by those, like an adult versus a child, which it would be the difference with pedophilia or zoophilia, keep it to yourself and shut the fuck up and just honor people and let them live their goddamn lives.
Okay, all right, yeah, all right, fair enough.
Andrew, you've been paid to be booted. This is your last point. Go ahead.
Okay, all right. Okay, so because I've heard this from leftists, and they say if you're a man and you're dating a trans woman, that means are you straight? And they always say, yeah. Like, can you explain to me how that's two?
I can't. I told you it was your final point.
Straight sex.
I told you it was your final point.
Oh, okay.
So I won't be explaining it to you, but if a future caller asks, I will explain it to them.
Okay.
Goodbye, Andrew.
Bye.
Okay.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I haven't lost my patience with him yet.
He's just so dishonest and learns nothing. He will come back and he will be asking these exact same questions the next time you speak to him and saying the same shit.
I have memory problems. Let's fucking go.
I'll
do it over and over again.